Hey, this is PJ Babiak. I am going to document some of my chopper project for future generations to try to undergo this crazy process. Let me explain what I'm doing here. I got a camera that likes to turn off. So I have two cx500s, and one of them I've already converted. A lot of people know about this into a cafe racer. And one of the modifications I did was I cut the rear axle and extended it about 4 inches. And that's going to be something I'm going to do to this bike later. But one of the things that I also did was I modified the front forks so that I took the left fork, which has the brake caliper mount on it, and I just used the second bike's left caliper mount to put a second disc brake on the side, which was a real pain in the ass, but it was worth it because now I've got dual disc front brakes, because they sell them like that in Europe but not in the Americas, and I wanted to do that. And one of the unique things that I realized was you can use the rear axle, and it's longer because the back wheel needs a longer one, and that was exactly the distance I needed to make it go between the axle of the front. So I've actually got two rear axles on this bike, and I bought two more of them on eBay because they're really cheap. They're only like 15 bucks a piece, and I'm going to use those two on this one to do the same kind of thing to the front because I'm going to need a longer axle for what I'm doing. And what I'm going to do to this one is turn it into a chopper. So I had to buy a cx500 triple tree, which is a 35mm fork, because 35mm forks are the only steel I can buy in America is in inches, which is about 1.25 inches. 35mm is basically 1.25 inches, and that fits into a 35mm fork. And I'm going to, I kind of got a little bit thin metal, so I've got some futon frame I'm going to put in there to stabilize it up a little bit extra. And I took the old piece of the frame that I cut off because I bobbed the other bike. This is part of the frame that's, you can see that curve on the back of the original frame here. I'm going to chop those off later. And those are going to go on the front and connect down here at the bottom, and it's going to kind of like tilt at an axis right there at the bottom. And my first idea was to, I'm going to run out of time, I got 2 minutes on this camera, was to take one of the forks and put it up at an angle on there, but I need to do some experimenting because I need to have this end right here also turn, and that was something I didn't think about in the physics of this. So that's plan A, and I'm going to try to take the tube from one end and mount it at the other end, but if I can't do that, I'm just going to use the rear springs, which I've seen people do, to make a girder front end. And I'm going to mount it kind of like there and somewhere on the frame like that, and that's gonna, that should be perfect because I've seen people do that. So basically I'm getting half-inch 8-inch bolts, and I bought these things right here from a company called Ride Tech. These mounts, I use them for the shock mount in the back, and they got nice things like this. This is incredible. This is a 5/8 shock mount, and I'm going to use this for the seat and maybe for the fork if I decide to mount the fork on it. The only thing I got to do is I got to drill. I got a special 15mm bolt for the front, and I pinch the tube down here. This is about 16 inches, and the rim only needs 15 inches, so the wheel will go about to here, and I should be able to have the whole front tire fit within this just fine, and I'll mount like a headlight here. But that's the rundown of what I'm starting to do, and I'll show you guys later after I get some more progress going. So until next time.